welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a special guest.
It's Hong here, back in the house.
This video has been so highly requested. We are talking all about
finances.
I feel like this year I really want to get a lot closer to you guys, and I want to go deeper than just makeup, hair and fashion and stuff like that.
None of the superficial shit.
Yeah, we need to get deep and dirty and talk about the things that a lot of people don't like to talk about. So you guys know that I'm starting off this new series where I'm talking all about different subjects while I'm getting ready. So we're talking all about money in this video. We are talking about how to save, how to budget your finances, saving for the future such as pensions, and how to get a mortgage and all that good stuff. So it is a long video, guys. Strap in. Doing our makeup and talking and teaching at the same time is so hard, isn't it?
It is a freaking struggle, guys. I could not focus. I'm like so bad at multitasking.
So this video is long, I'm not gonna lie. We've already been filming for 2 hours and there's a lot of points that we really want to touch in this subject. So make sure you go and grab some snacks. Maybe you can get ready with us at the same time. And if you guys want to know a bit more about finances and maybe our situations, then please keep watching.
Roll the intro.
Woo! Okay guys, so we're gonna jump right into things. Me and my sister have a snatch matching ponytail today.
Yes. So we're just gonna talk about our current life situation at the moment regarding to our finance side of things at the moment. So let's start off with you. Where are you in your finance life?
I have always been really good when it comes to finances. I am not a materialistic person at all. I've never ever been into designer bags. I've never been into fancy cars or anything like that. I think my sister has come to more of a realization when it comes to things like that.
So when it comes to me regarding to finance, I've always been, when I was younger, I never thought of the future. I've always been a very unstructured kind of girl, but I realise now that I've hit my mid-30s, there's a lot of goals that I want to achieve, and to do this I need to be much more organised and know what I want to achieve for the future. So I'm also a very materialistic person. I can't concentrate, guys. Like literally doing multitasking is my worst freaking nightmare. I've always been a pretty materialistic type of person, and I always compare myself to a lot of other people, and I feel like you always want to compete and feel like you've accomplished things in life. All these things that I thought was important in my earlier stages, now I think, why the hell do I think like that?
The time in my life at the moment, I am currently saving for a house. Buying a house is my one-term life goal. Like, that's the only thing that I've ever dreamed about, was buying my own property. This year, guys, it's gonna happen, okay? Like, I am putting out to the universe, I'm gonna buy a property this year. That's where I am at the moment. I'm currently saving for a mortgage.
So where I am at in life is, I feel very lucky that I've managed to buy myself a home. I've got a stable job which gives me a lot of security. My income is pretty decent. So I work in the finance industry, so I kind of know a bit about finance, but when it comes to my own personal finance, I was always stuck in a rut. But when it comes to work side of things, I'm so focused, I know what I'm doing. Isn't that always the way when in your work and in your personal life is completely opposite?
Maybe we can talk more about budgeting and saving for the future and just looking at your finances and tackling it.
Yeah, looking at it in depth, like actually crunching down the numbers. But that leads us to our first topic that a lot of people are asking regarding to budgeting. And I think that's a really important aspect when it comes to finance, because you need to know your ins and out, and you need to number crunch and know exactly what's coming in, what's coming out, so that you can plan for the future. So I think it's really important that you track everything that you spend and have an app or system where you can manage all this. So I actually use an app that I monitor all my spending, my expenses, and I try to do it on like a weekly basis, but minimum on a monthly basis. So how a budget works is you need to ensure that the first line, which is your income, so all your earnings you put on the first line, and that is what you need to focus on. You don't spend more than what you earned. The second line is your expenses, and these expenses should only consist of like what you need to have to live on. So like your home, your rent, your food, your travel expenses, bills that are compulsory, like your gas and electric. And then when you minus the two, you are in the greens, not in the red. So you are not overspending compared to what you're earning. So you need to ensure that it balances. And if it doesn't balance, then you need to find a different job that will earn more income, or you need to look at your expenses and see if maybe move to a cheaper area so your rent is not so high.
You can move in with someone. You can
have
share.
housemates.
Yeah.
Look at your freaking gas and electricity. Are you freaking living on a budget and then you're putting on the heater every single day?
Yeah.
So all those things you need to look at and review your budget and consistently see that you're on track. I use an app called Fudget. So every single time that I spend something, I add it onto the app so that I know if I'm overspending or I'm underspending. And I also put in the forecast of what my bills will be for that month. And it gives you like a line at the end to say if you are within your budget or not.
I would actually recommend, if you guys don't have a Monzo account, it actually puts everything into categories for you already. So for things like leisure or food and stuff like that, it actually puts it all in categories on that app.
The only problem with that is what I found is a similar principle with Mint. When you connect it, it connects to your bank account and every single time you spend it categorizes it. However, the downside that I find with these apps is it's only when you spend it that's when you know. With the Fudget, you already put in what you're anticipating to spend as well. For my food, I put in £100. If I spent £20 on food already, I'm minus £20 from the food section. So I know that I still have £80 left to spend on my food. But with the other apps, you only see what you've spent. Right, you can't actually budget for it. We're going to talk about emergency fund and how important it is, because when I was younger, I never planned for the future. Whatever's in my bank account, I'll go day by day and like wish for the best, basically.
What an emergency fund is basically if anything bad happens, you have money set aside that you don't need to go in debt for, and you just have it there ready. You need to make sure you have your finances in order and have a little pot of money that you can dig into for really, really bad times. And it's not when you're like, oh, I'm craving a McDonald's, I'm just going to go into my emergency fund. It's not for that at all.
That's exactly what mine one's for. Your emergency fund should be only used in emergency. I find that when you have an emergency fund, you feel a lot more secure, because at times before I used to go in a panic like, oh shit, I can't afford it. Yeah. And then I use my credit card and then, you know, now I'm chasing my tails again. So if you have that money aside, now it's just an inconvenience. It's not like a life-changing experience.
Life has ups and downs. You don't know what it's going to throw at you, so
it's very unpredictable.
Yeah, so you never want to be in a situation where you're going to have to be scrambling, you're borrowing money,
and then you're asking friends for a favour and then you can't afford to pay it back, and it's just spiraling out of control. So do yourself and set yourself that mind frame and give yourself security for the future.
Okay, let's talk about personal budgets, okay? Because obviously you also need to live your life at the same time, you know. There's no point living when you're just basically paying your rent and you're actually not living life. And, you know, people want to go on holidays, people want to have experiences as well. So, you know, what can we say for people that want to maybe have their surgery or have holidays and stuff like that? What would you say to them?
I think it's really important that you need to be realistic, okay? Is this within your financial budget? If you can't afford it, then don't do it. But if you have a long-term goal that you want to achieve something, then you should set money aside to be able to achieve that, even if it takes you 2 years down the line. So for surgery, it's really expensive. It's not like you just have that surplus of money, because it's like grands. It's like at least £5,000 to have your BBL. So you need to plan how long would it take you to achieve and have this money set aside so you can plan for it.
Hopefully without going into debt as well. When it comes to things like that, what you need to do is you need to put a budget down. So just say if you want to spend £2,000 on a holiday, okay, that's going to be a good holiday. You're saving all year long for it, and obviously when you're looking at £2,000 to drop, that's a lot of money. But if you actually sit down and calculate how much you can set aside for it, it's not that much if you just pay a little bit, and you just forget about that money.
Say for example, the holiday's 1,200. Divide that by 12 is £100 a month, okay? That's how much you need to set aside each month to be able to achieve that goal by the end of the year. One of the things that I really struggled on before was big expenses that had to come, say, at a specific time in the year. So for example, my car insurance, I know it's going to cost me £1,000 in August. By the time I hit August, I'm like, I spent all my money, I haven't saved money aside. So I used to proper struggle. Now what I do each month is I set aside like £50 for my insurance. And I know that by the time I hit August, I would save that money aside. So I'm setting aside sinking funds, I think that's what you call it, so that you can plan for whenever that incident happens.
Yeah, so you can also use that mindset when it comes to things like holidays and stuff like that. If you know that you want to go on holiday by September next year, start saving ahead of it. And if you don't have extra money you can set to the side, you can also think about how you're gonna add extra income into your life, you know? Like my sister works for me part-time, so that's like extra income for her. If you are good at maths, you can think about being a maths tutor, Uber drivers.
Become a makeup artist in your spare time, do hairdressing.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Like think about different skills that you have to offer and sell your time, because that's the best way to make extra money on the side without making like a full-time income from it. And you never know, maybe that income can make you even more money than the job that you're earning now, and maybe it can fulfill your life a bit more.
That last topic leads on to tips and tricks regarding to saving. That's a struggle.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times we just spend and then we're waiting for our paycheck to come in and we spend it all again. We need to get into the mindset of saving your money, because it is a hard struggle, guys. When you see that money come in, you're just like, oh, there's a sale going on at the moment. I'm gonna go do some window shopping, and then what do you know? You've spent all your money already. Okay, so we've quickly done our eyebrows off camera.
My one looks like not twins. They're cousins, no? They're long lost relatives.
Okay, so we're just going to use the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. Make sure you use code Thuy, Thuy, to get 10% off Morphe. Thanks so much.
I think it's really important that you change your mindset regarding to money and regarding to materialistic items. We always want to be flashy, show people that we're doing well in life, and is that really important?
There's no point in wearing everything designer and then you look in your wallet and there's like bees buzzing. Like, that's the worst thing that you ever want to happen, okay? That can only happen in Habbo Hotel, okay? It cannot be happening in real life. Do you know what? And I think that that's something that we laugh about it, but it's a genuinely true thing. People's handbags that they're walking around with is worth more than what is inside their bank account, and that's just something that we need to get out of that mindset in 2020.
But I feel like there's a lot of social pressure as well, and especially in the industry and social media that we live in nowadays. It's so easy to get yourself in this bandwagon where you feel like, oh my gosh, she's got that, I need to get that as well.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you change your mindset on the things that you actually need and the things that are important in life.
Especially when you have bigger goals like buying a house. All of these little small expenses that you're doing right now is going to make a big impact. Okay, so something that really helped me, and also my sister actually, is when it comes to shopping, sometimes I just feel like I have the urge to just go shopping.
Yeah, you know when you just want to drop that £2,000, but you haven't got that in your bank account?
Yeah, that is the struggle. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I go through a stage where I have like this void that I just want to fill, and I love having packages come to my door. And
also it's just that sense of boredom as well, something to do, and that's one of the things that I struggle, like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do, no one's around me, let's shop. And I feel that we found a trick in how we can do this without actually having to spend any money. So, you know, when you go through that urge, guys, like, do online shopping. Go to all the shops that you want, pick out all the items that you want, put in your basket, and you're like, ooh, I could get this, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, and then what I do is I just add everything to my basket and then I press X. I'm like, just done my weekly shopping.
Because sometimes you feel like you just want to buy it because you feel like you need it in that moment. What I do is I add everything to my basket and then I wait for like 2 or 3 days. If I'm still thinking of that item in 2 or 3 days time, then I go back and buy it. Most of the time what I tend to find is after 2 or 3 days I'm like, what was in that basket? And I look at the items and I'm like, what the was you thinking?
Yeah, exactly. And it's happened to me so many times, guys. Even on Amazon, sometimes I just feel this craze go on Amazon and just find something because it's gonna come next day. I get it right now. The next day I'm totally busy, and when a package arrives I'm like, oh my god, what did I even order? And that just goes to show that I didn't need that item. And obviously if you're saving for the future, you can't be having stupid expenses like that. When I was looking through my bank accounts, guys, literally 95% of everything that's coming out of my bank account was literally food. Because even when it comes to me, when I do my weekly food shop, I just put whatever I need in my basket. I don't even plan my meals that I want. I'm just like, oh, this looks good. And then I go food shopping when I'm hungry as well, which is even worse because then I just end up adding all these snacks and stuff. It's not good in my waistline. It's not good in my bank account, and I don't know why I do it.
So freaking true. Since I've moved out, I feel completely different regarding to like food shopping, I think. I used to find that I waste buying a lot of food and thinking I'm going to cook it, whatever. I now actually plan my meals way in advance. So I know what I'm going to cook for the week. I plan my meals in advance because sometimes you just leave that freaking food in the fridge to rot.
And then on top of that, I'm paying all this money for food shop, and then I go out to eat as well for lunch and dinner because I don't want to eat the leftovers. So I'm like, I want something new now. Something that's kind of helped me is when it comes to my schedule, I look at what days I'm going to be home, and then I'll be like, okay, on that day we can have lasagna, and I can eat lasagna for lunch and dinner.
So plan your meals way in advance. So even now, when I go to work, before I used to always grab lunch on the go. So the day before, I make dinner and I'll have that for lunch. I would have saved that £10 that I would have spent on lunch towards something else.
If you're eating out 3 times a week, just go out to eat once a week. week, you know? It doesn't have to go from big extremes from one to another.
Yeah. And then things that I would do is, before, I would always drive to my local store, which is like a 10 minutes walk away from my house. By me walking now, I've saved that petrol money that I would have spent going to the damn freaking shop and spending more money at the shop. And then sometimes it makes you think like, oh, no, I can't bother with the shop. Let's just stay home.
Yeah, exactly. So then it kind of saves you and your waistline again. For me personally, it's not a case of like cutting out food altogether and just eating pot noodles for the week, because if we're really, really saving, that's what we can do. But we also really enjoy food and we don't want to cut it out of our diets completely, you know?
And I think it's also a very social thing as well. So what I've also suggested to my friends, because every single time I used to meet up with my friends, it's like, oh, let's go and grab lunch, let's go and grab dinner. And each time those occasions can cost like minimum 20 to 30 pounds, and that's a lot of money every single time that you want to socialise or connect with your friends. So I've suggested alternatives such as maybe grab a coffee, which is a fraction of the price, or we would go round to each other's house and make dinner together, and just doing things that are more about spending time together rather than being in certain locations just because it's Instagrammable.
So with me, guys, no matter how much money I have, I love a deal, yeah? If I'm buying anything, I'm always researching for voucher codes and stuff like that, which I think is really, really important. I feel like some people just get the urge just to buy something and they don't even check where you can get a better deal. For example, my friends, sometimes they just want to buy a camera. They don't even look around to see who's giving cash back at that time. They could be getting that camera for £200 less, but because they want it right now, they just end up spending that £200 extra. Obviously, if you can afford that, then great. But if you're on the path to saving, then you should always be looking for the best deals and maybe holding out until Black Friday is coming up next week, you know?
We're just so impatient in today's society. So you just need to change your mindset in that. Why do you need the thing tomorrow? Why do we pay for the Amazon Prime account?
I don't know, that's why it gets me. You have to take couponing with a pinch of salt, because you don't want to fall into the other side of the category where you're buying things just because it's on a deal, which is something that we used to be really, really bad at. We used to just go shopping, we'd go straight to the sale. We didn't even need the item. We have plenty of black tops that look exactly the same, but because it's on sale, you just want to get the item.
I also find that buying things in bulks saves you money as well. So like I go and buy tissue in bulks because I know these are items you always need them and they would never expire. So I would stock up on them when it's buy one get one free in Macros, because I know I'll need those items one day and I'm saving on those.
Just try to cut out things you don't need. Like before, you used to buy magazines all the time.
Yeah.
Like every week you buy like 2 or 3 magazines, and then you think, oh, it's only £1.50. All those little things adds up to something. So try not to look at things like, oh, it's just 50p or it's just £1, because if you are on that path to saving, then all of those little 50p's, they all amount up to something. You know, why do you think that these old grannies, they save up like all their pennies in a little jar and then they break it and you get like £1,000 out of that jar? So it all does account to something.
But I have this friend that every single time we freaking go on holiday, she has to buy like 10 new outfits for the holiday. I'm like, you need to think about reusing your outfits. Like, there's also this pressure that you can only be photographed in that item once. And I think, that, what the fuck is wrong with that? 3 years ago, you could be wearing the same item over and over again and you wouldn't feel embarrassed to be caught in that outfit again. But nowadays, like, she's like, oh my God, it's on Snapchat. I cannot wear that item again. I'm like, what? Why? Why? One of the things regarding saving that we're trying to drum into your skull is you need to think of the bigger goal, what you are trying to achieve in life. And I think some of the fundamental things that we need to ensure that we have in life is basically a roof over our head, which is really important. When I was younger, my mom never ever taught me that you need to freaking think of where you're going to live, how you're going to survive. The backbone of everything is that roof over your head. So I think a mortgage is so freaking important. So I think that one of the biggest asset that you'll ever have in your life is going to be a home. So it's really important that if you're not thinking about it now, at this age, whatever age that is, especially now, it's so hard to get onto the property ladder. So you need to think, even in your 20s, how are you going to save to get onto the property ladder and having this security?
Yeah, I kind of always knew that I wanted to buy a house, but I just felt it was just so daunting. Like, you know, when you hear people talk about stamp duty and solicitor costs and stuff, and it just makes you bury your head in the sand and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that one day. And then that one day, when it does come, you're just like, I didn't prepare for it. I'm just so overwhelmed, and then you just end up prolonging it even longer. And the quicker you can get onto the property ladder, it's just going to be so much better for you, because you're probably buying the house as cheap as it's going to get. The houses are only going to get more expensive.
This might not even be a house, but it could be anything that you feel is really important in your life. So some people want to move abroad one day, and to be able to do that, you need to have some money aside. So say if you are made redundant or you can't find a job, you have that security. But we are going to touch base on mortgages, because I get a lot of questions on daily regarding to how did I own my own home, because it is such a big achievement. I feel really proud of myself that I can say that I've got a home, and I feel so secure, and knowing that I've got a place that I can go to and feel safe at the end of the day.
So obviously when it comes to mortgage in the UK, there's ISAs that can help you. So I just invested into a Help to Buy ISA. I think it's called a lifetime ISA now.
A lifetime ISA, you put money aside, so I think it's around about £4,000 a year. The government pays a return of 25% each year towards your ISA. And this ISA, you can only take it out to use it on 2 occasions, which is either when you retire or purchasing your first home.
So the Help to Buy ISA scheme basically in the UK is the government that's trying to help first-time buyers. So they open up this scheme where if you put in £4,000, the government will give you an extra £1,000. So that's £1,000 for free that anyone can get. I opened up mine with Moneybox. That's just what my financial advisor advised me, and it's all like an online app, so you can literally see your £1,000 go in.
The downside is if you actually take the money out before then, you could actually lose money. So only go into this if you know that you want to get a mortgage or you're thinking of using it for your pension.
The other catch is the house that you buy has to be under 450,000. So obviously that might hinder you from buying the house that you really want. But if you know that the place that you want to buy is under 450,000, I highly recommend to go onto the lifetime ISA. I feel like for the longest time, I just had all my money in one bank account, and that's just all my money. But now I've spread out my bank account so that I have money in different places. So whenever I have income come in, I put money in this account, and then I just totally forget about it.
So for my holiday and sinking funds and my insurance, I have it in one bank account, and that's my saving account that I put aside. For my other long-term goals, such as my emergency fund and money that I'm saving for investment, I have it in a separate bank account, and I automatically have a standing order each month. Once my money comes into my account, it goes straight to those accounts. I don't even get to touch it. I don't actually get to see it. It's just giving me that security that I'm already planned for this. So I feel that with mortgages, there's a lot of things that people don't know regarding to mortgage. It's actually really expensive to get on the property ladder. You need to set aside, I think now in the UK, it's normally around about 20% of the house. So for example, if the house is 200k, you need to set aside at least 40k just for the deposit alone. And then you got to think of the stamp duty, and then you got to think of your solicitor's fee, your surveyor's fee. It's a lot of money. So minimum, you need at least like 50 to 60 grand to be able to move out nowadays. It's so expensive. So that's the reason why you need to think young and early to set money aside for the future.
Let's talk about credit scores.
Now, guys, that is a whole different playing field that you need to think about, because my mama never told me that I need good credit score to be able to get a mortgage. So you need a good credit score to be able to get a mortgage or get a good deal on a mortgage, because if you don't have a good credit score, you can't either get a mortgage or the interest rate for your mortgage is going to be really expensive. So you need to think about in your 20s how you're going to build up your credit scores, and some of the tricks and tips that we're going to give you regarding to build up your credit scores, which is Thuy is actually actioning at the moment. So it's really important regarding to credit cards and paying your bills on time.
Okay, so when it comes to credit cards, for the longest time, I was actually really scared to open up a credit card. I always just had direct debit. So you want to open up a credit card when you are approaching on thinking to buy a house, and you want to just put stuff that you know you can pay off. You never want to put things like a big £4,000 TV on there because you don't have the money for it right now. You should always put money in, like your food shopping, bills, and then also set up a standing order so it automatically gets paid off every single month. You never want to leave like £2 or anything in there, because that can affect your credit score so badly.
And also, when I was looking at the credit score rating, how they also distribute or calculate your credit score is you only should spend a maximum 20% of your credit. So say for example, you've got £1,000 available for you in credit. You should only spend 20% of that. So you should only spend £200 of that £1,000. If you spend the whole £1,000, it shows that, oh, this girl is always in debt, don't borrow her to her. So it actually lowers your credit score.
Oh wow, really?
So only spend maximum of 20% of your total credit. Okay, it's very important that when you're using your credit card, you know that you have that money aside to pay for it by the end of the freaking month. Don't ever miss a payment, because when you miss a payment, it also affects your credit score, and it's on there for at least 4 or 5 years on your credit score.
Yeah.
If you miss any payment, guys. So you can actually f yourself over if you do that.
Yeah, and I feel like in America, I think your credit score is a lot more important. So you want to make sure that even you pay off your gym membership, you don't go into your overdraft, all those little things will affect your credit score.
So you should work on it at least like 2 years before you plan to get your mortgage, because you also get a better rate if you have a good credit score. The difference between paying £500 instead of paying £1,000 is also based on your credit score, guys.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next subject now, which is investing and thinking of the future. So this is all about pensions, which is something that's so boring and no one in their young 20s wants to think about when they are 65. Like, that's so long away. For the longest time, guys, I was just like, oh, pension, like, I don't know.
What is that?
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, forget what the future 65-year-old Thuy is about. I need to live for now, you know?
And it's so funny because I was talking to this guy recently at a wedding, and he was like, oh, I just want to spend all my money now. What is the point of thinking of when I'm 65? I'll be dead and old by then. Let's be realistic. We're all going to get old one day. And your mobility is not going to be the same as now. So you need to think about how are you going to survive when you actually reach that age and you want to be able to enjoy all the finer things in life at that age.
So I just recently started up a pension for myself. Obviously, I'm in a different situation because I am self-employed. So when you're working for a normal company, they normally have a pension scheme. You put in money every month and then your company actually matches that, which is something you should definitely be signing up for if you are working for a company and they have that scheme available.
One thing that I would advise everyone is start while you're young, guys. You think that you'll never be 60 and blink of an eye, tomorrow you're in a granny bag. Okay? So start while you're young, and you'll be actually surprised that someone that invested in their pension when they're 19 and they only put like £100 a month into that pension, in comparison to someone that's say in their 30s put in £200 a month in their pension. So they're putting double the amount of the person that at 19 was putting £100. By the time they both reach 60, that 19-year-old, their pension would have outran this 30-year-old woman, even though she's put in a lot more at a later stage. It's all down to compound interest, guys. So compound interest is on your side when it comes to age side of things. So you should always do it when you're younger. Your money actually depreciates in value if you just leave your cash in the bank, because there's inflation that happens. Inflation each year is around about 3%. Tomorrow will be worth less than it is today. When you think about like houses back in the day, it was only like 10,000. Now it's like 100,000. So that is basically inflation. So if you were just to leave cash in the bank, your money will actually lose value.
But me and my sister only, just at the end of the last year, we started to research into stuff like this, and like I'm a late 20s now, my sister's in early 30s, so it's never too late, you know? Like, don't ever think that, oh, you should have done this when you were younger, because you can start now.
So I've really been into stocks and shares recently. One thing that I would advise everyone to have is an ISA stocks and shares account. So this is a way of earning interest and earning money without having to pay tax on your earnings. So whatever you earn through the stock and shares ISA, you don't actually have to pay tax on it. Normally your income, you have to pay minimum of 20%. So you can get a stocks and share ISA with any company. So I decided to go with Vanguard because their platform rate to be able to open your stocks and share ISA is actually really low. I think it's like 0.1%, whereas a lot of companies actually minimum 1%. If you go with someone that manages your stock, which Thuy does, it's a lot more expensive. 1% sounds like a very low percentage, but if you work out over like 30 years, it can equivalent to around about like 400k. And that 400k, I would rather keep that to myself. But if you have the luxury of someone managing that account for you and investing the stocks and shares on your behalf, and you're willing to pay that price, then all good on you.
So for me personally, I have a financial advisor, which I know sounds very, very bougie. Never in a million years I thought this old bird has a financial advisor. But basically, he's going to help me work towards my goal of buying a house. So he's helped me with my pension, because I'm self-employed, it is a bit harder. And coming from my job, guys, I'm not going to lie, I do earn a decent income. So I don't know what to do with that money. So a financial advisor will advise me on what to do with my money to make sure that that money earns me more money over time. So at the end of the day, I feel like what we all need to strive for is to get income that works for you overnight. So your income that you currently have at the moment is making you even more income without you having to do anything. And the only way to do that mainly is through stocks and shares. So I know the subject is a bit daunting because you don't even know where to start, but there's different types of stocks and shares that you can get. There's some that is more high risk, which you could lose your money, but if you do make money, you can triple your income and be a millionaire overnight.
You have higher returns. And there's safer stocks and shares, which is what I personally invest in, and I think of the longer picture and investing like over 30 years rather than getting my returns and selling my stock really quickly. So I invest in something that's more secure and it's more safe, and is the index fund, which is tracking the top 500 companies out in the world, and you're also minimizing the risks. My plan is I want to set aside around about £400 a month. By the time I reach 60, that £400 a month would only be around about 60 grand. Because of compound interest, it would be worth actually around about 500k.
So with the Vanguard that she invested in, she's getting a little bit of money over a long period of time. Whereas the one that I'm investing in, which you can only go through a financial advisor, he is investing my money into bigger projects. So I have a bigger risk, but then there's higher returns. Okay guys, so I feel like this video's been going long enough. I can't believe we even actually managed to do our makeup at the same time. But we're gonna kind of wrap up this video just by talking about the mistakes and maybe some advice we can give our younger selves, or to give you guys out there that's watching this.
I think one of the mistakes that I made in life is always wanting all these materialistic things. So one of the biggest purchases that I made in my 20s was going in debt and financing a car which was over 30k. It was a very nice car. It was a very bougie car. I felt very rich, but deep down I didn't have the bank account to support that. And if I think about it now, I'm like, why did I do that? That 30k that I spent towards that car, I could have invested that in another property, do other things that would have earned me more money now. A lot of people think that a car is a good investment. It won't make you money more in the long run. So you need to think about investing your money in things that will actually earn you money in the long term. Only do that if you can afford it. Even if you have to go into finance, well, think of something that's reasonable. Don't go for that 30,000 car. Go for like that £10,000 car, which you know you can afford and you can pay off in, say, 2 years instead of freaking a whole mortgage towards that freaking damn car. Other things that I've regretted is buying designer bags and extravagant holidays. Again, this mind frame where I have to look rich, look bougie, and when I'm broke as
Yeah.
So I used to buy all these designer bags and go on like holidays like 6 times a year, and it's amazing having all these life experiences. But when I look back at it, I'm like, where has it got me now? What I wish I would have done is use that funds for more efficient use. I could go on those holidays when I'm in a more stable position in life. So like now, when I feel a lot more stable, I can enjoy those experiences now and getting to the goal where I am now a lot sooner.
So something that I actually really regret was not doing a pension or ISA sooner. I basically just had money just sitting in my bank account, and I just basically lost out on thousands because I didn't start sooner. Now knowing that I could have invested that money and maybe I could have doubled my income, I felt like when I was younger, I just kind of like knew I had to do it, and starting up an ISA was something on my list that I wanted to do for ages, and it just overwhelmed me so much I didn't even bother to do research because I knew it would be like a long process. I kind of kept putting it off. I feel like when you are younger, all you think about is going out, you drinking, you buy a round, and that's like £100. You spend £100 every single weekend. I just feel like we don't have a lot of friends. We don't have good role models. We don't have good parents maybe to follow in their footsteps, and we don't get taught this at school. So I really hope you guys appreciate this video, and let me know if you guys want me to film more videos like this with my sister, and maybe I can do a video in the future when I actually come to buy my own house. We can maybe dive into this subject a little bit more.
And also, I feel that when you're going through uni and college, try and not get that student loan. Try and have a side job so that you get the bare minimum of student loans if you have to. Live at home with your parents. Trust me, when you go to your 9-to-5 job, you're like wishing you could live at your mum's house.
Yeah. The one thing that I really want to say, which I know it kind of contradicts myself because I'm a blogger, but don't feel the pressure of Instagram. Don't feel the pressure of YouTube and showing you guys these hauls, because at the end of the day, guys, I'm being 100% honest, I get sent these clothing. I don't personally go out to buy these clothing all the time. Don't see it like, oh, just because Thuy has it that I need it as well, because you should always live within your means, you know?
I think that's a really good note to end on. Live within your means. Debt is a no-no. Save for the future and invest in yourself.
Have that emergency fund, guys, because life fucks you over sometimes, okay? It'll come get your ass. So make sure you have that emergency fund. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed us being real, true and honest. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You have to try to remember to hold the mirror down and don't cover your face like this.
Guys, I'm like, I don't know where to look the camera.
I always see on my video, she's just staring at herself in the monitor. I'm like, look at the fucking camera.
Look at this hot bitch.
Tell them how hard it is to do your makeup at the same time.
It's so hard to do your makeup and talk at the same time. I don't know how you do it, girl.
That's what I do for a
And
living.
your face looks flawless still. I'm like patching my nusky here. I tell you, we should have just sat down and thinking rather than doing our makeup at the same time, man. This is fucking harder than it is. This is a serious fucking topic, guys. We're not giving good advice. Before, when we've done the video, we're like sitting, oh yeah, that flows. And we was talking and now it fucking comes to it. We're like, break dead.
Don't know what we're doing. We're poor. The poor is talking to the poor.
Guys, now I understand the reason why things are so messy when Thuy does her video and freaking makeup at the same time. It is so hard to focus doing makeup and freaking talking and multitasking.
And making sure you do a nice look and also teaching people stuff.
Yeah, I can save that £10 towards my lunch money.
Not towards your lunch money. You follow me. You say that. You know what?
Okay, so understand. That's my mindset, guys. I'm like always on food. This bitch tells me not to put the mirror inside the freaking frame.
Yeah,
and
I'm not
she's
talking
like,
though, am I? You're talking.
Ways advise people is start.
This is the top result.
Shut up, Siri. Obviously, what's obviously?
Oh gosh, that was a long struggle.
You know, my sister said yesterday, she was like, her dream job is to be a blogger.
Oh, I don't know, I have to rethink about that. I only see the very luxurious side, but when I was sitting behind the camera, I felt the pressure, guys.
Yeah, you really do feel the pressure and you really feel like you want to say the right things.
The thing is, like, when the camera's off and I talk to my sister, I'm like, oh, it just flows. But when the camera's on, you're like, oh, did I say that right? Does it sound right? Is it going to offend anyone? You do think about it.
You do definitely think about it, yeah. So we don't just sit around and do nothing. Let us know, please, down below what other videos we should film, okay? Yeah. I'm counting on you guys in the comments.
A lot of people keep asking about relationships.
Oh, okay, we can do that one. You're single as well, so you can talk more about this.
Oh, I don't know much. I can give you advice now. It's single, not by choice, guys.